For me, like, there aren't any right or wrong ways in music until someone tells you that you can't do something. And in a way, it kind of makes you want to rebel against it. But I guess the point to it all is that for me, a song is done when it's done, and it's wrong to kind of have that thing in your head that, you know, you can't have a long song, it's got to be shorter. You know, sometimes they're long. I mean, you know, imagine if Freddie had that mindset while he was creating Bohemian Rhapsody, you know. You just got to follow your heart and, you know, see where you end up. And that's what happened with this song, and it's one of my proudest moments as a writer. So, you know, but you can't have long songs, man. How the whole download thing, which, you know, it's been done to death. I don't want to get into it too much, but basically it could have been such a cool thing, but it ended up just kind of, you know, devaluing music, I guess. And now, I actually heard a kid on the bus once, on the Sky bus, you know, saying to all his mates, oh, I don't, you know, music's free, like, that was just his mindset, you know, it's free, it's not something you pay for, and just thought that was so crappy and so sad. Musically pretty cool too, trying out some different things. I've got Brian Sanders from New York. He's an awesome cellist, and he's been on a lot of recordings. Yeah, it was new to have some cello on one of my songs. And I'm also playing a bit of slap bass on this song, and it kind of jumps around a bit between a few styles all into one song, which is another thing I really like doing. I really like the whole fun groove of it. It's a really cool song to do. For the choruses, Scoob and I, my brother, we did those kind of group voices together. We did a couple of takes, as I recall. Just cracking up, you know, mucking around, trying to throw each other off. I've got a bit of video of that too. Some of it's online, but I'll put more of it up. Funny, like, some people might hear it and think they know who or what it's about specifically, but, you know, songwriting very rarely is specifically about one thing, I reckon, and definitely the case here. You know, bits and pieces kind of creep in, and, you know, eventually you end up with what you end up with. But yeah, I tried to prepay some rent on my flat, but it wasn't the full amount. Yet I had weeks to go until the full amount was due, and got this nasty letter from them saying, you know, you're overdue, you're late, blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, well, but it's due in a few weeks, you know, and I'm late. And yeah, very strange, but they were getting a bit nasty, and I just had that thought that, oh shit, maybe this is going to be it, you know, the jig's going to be up. I have to go back to Hobart. Yeah, you have those insecure moments, I guess, and this was one of them. And I think it's important to, you know, document that in your songs. You know, if that's, I was saying before, if you're feeling something, you've got to let it out and just be honest, and, you know, let your heart guide the song, which is what I did. And it's a pretty insecure moment, and yeah, I really recall it helping to write it as well. Like, I was sleeping on my floor on a coat. I had no furniture yet, scribbling these lyrics on, you know, didn't have a pad or anything, I don't think. I forget, you know, maybe on a magazine or something. It was cool to do it. Towards the end of George Harrison's life, he was getting quite hounded by the press, and actually had to come out and say, oh, hang on, I'm going to be around for a while yet, and, leave me be, and that kind of thing. And I was quite a young buck at the time, around 20 years old, and that was the first time I really had that thought of how fucked the media is and how much bullshit is printed in these publications. Checked into it more, and I was just kind of horrified, I guess. I just thought how shit it was, and being inspired by what George was going through, I wanted to have some references to him, so you've got like the Bullshit Avenue and End of the Line and stuff like that in there, just a nod to the great man. We ended up marrying this other piece I had called Journey's End, which is that whole ending with the tribal stuff in it, to the first part of the song, and worked really well. It's got that familiar kind of dum 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 thing, the drum stuff that Dennis did there. And it might ring a bell for folks that have heard my first album, Pieces of Eternity. That was going to be kind of like a reprise to close out that album, and it had different tracks on it. And that was going to go with like the opener, Magical Occurrence, that has a similar thing on the drums. I just kind of liked that idea. But things changed and it didn't happen. But I still liked the piece, so I turned up here. Bit of a guitar thing. And, good fun. Like I said, Dennis did those tribal drums in there. Little kind of overdubbed solo in the middle, and these dudes with these black kind of trolleys, they zoom in up and down every aisle, and you got to get out of the way or you get run over, and they'll chop your toes off and that kind of thing. And I just kind of laugh about it, whatever. But, that's what the lyrics are about, just a fun take on that, That was a really old song. I think that was like the second song I wrote on my own outside the band that I was in at the time, along with From Within. It was around that kind of era, so mid-1990s. At the time, just wanted to write a song that, the title is like a tribute to, what it was then, a tribute to my mum, who's no longer with us. And, as it turned out, the song didn't get released properly, the right version didn't happen until now. And in the last year, we kind of lost the old boy as well, my dad. So it's really a nod to both of those guys now, the title, and hopefully just a nice piece of music that, does them justice. Says thanks to them. I had these tunes, I had to get the album out, so I had to make some money to do it. So I had to work in a crappy job to get that money, and that was the driving force. The job sucks, but keep that in the back of your mind, it's going to pay for these songs to eventuate. And I guess I'm a pretty straight up kind of guy, and some of the things that they were wanting us to do, I had issues with. Obviously they're the boss and you've got to do what you've got to do, but I guess it was eating me up, and more than I realised, and had a few little kind of health issues arising from that. At the time playing these gigs, I had an early kind of version of this song that I was doing then, and that just seemed like relief from all the grief of going through it, poking fun at being sick all the time, because I wasn't sure what else to do for a while. So it's just really about getting sick and not being able to call in sick. because my head's spinning and I feel like I'm going to throw up and things like that. And musically, just a fun kind of bluesy rock thing.